Hello, thank you for joining me today. And my dog barking downstairs that I hopefully you cannot hear. My name is Ariel. I apologize for the super low video quality. I'm aware that it looks like I am recording this on a potato. I do not understand technology. I never will. I have given up that dream. All right, so will rely heavily on my verbal cues today, so you don't have to look at this visual nightmare. All right, come to a comfortable seat on your mat, wherever that is, whatever that looks like. Your lower half can be however you'd like. You can lean against something. You can even lay down if you'd prefer. We'll do our usual 30 minutes of gentle yoga. Nothing too crazy today. As you're coming into a comfortable seated position, you may want to grab a couple of props to support you through this. We'll be here for a few minutes before we start moving. So consider I'm sitting on a folded up blanket here. You can sit on something like a yoga bolster. You can even just grab a pillow or a couch cushion, things like that. As you're finding how you'd like to sit and get settled, there are some days where this is a very easy task, some days where this is rather complicated. So, what are some things that you should look for? Any physical sensation that feels particularly strong. Excuse me, something that could pull your attention out of the next few minutes of meditation. So as I'm sitting here, I'm noticing my ankle bone is kind of pushing into my shin. This doesn't feel quite so good on my hip. They're pulling my attention enough that I'm gonna shift and adjust and move uh, some other position. So that feels a little better. It's still, I still have sensation places, but I think it's mild enough that I will be okay in this position. So that's how I decide how I'm going to sit here. You can take palms down, palms open. You can even take them on the belly, on the body, on the chest, wherever feels good. Hopefully, as you've gotten settled, you're starting to orient to your space a little bit. So, depending on where you are, you can already soften the gaze or close the eyes. Of course, the option to continue to look around your room if that's helpful for you. You can even, as we sit here and meditate, you can pick a singular object in your room. If you want to run and grab it and place it right in front of you, you can, or just wherever you are, something, just one particular item or point that you will look at. And then taking a moment here. Again, noticing where is sensation? What does it feel like? How can you describe it? Where does it live? And there's no right or wrong answer. There's no official answer. It will change. It might change even a million times within a single class. But what it does is we're constantly searching for sensation, deciding how we can describe it, how it changes, noticing it, all of these properties of it. You start to build body awareness. You start to really embody your practice of yoga. For some people, my theory is that it's based on brain shape. Some people it's really difficult. It's super hard to get into your body and to notice sensation and to be able to describe it. So if this is something you struggle with, welcome. Welcome to the club. All right, enough of me just talking your ear off. Let's take a couple deep breaths with the option to sigh, flutter the lips, or create some sound on the exhale. We'll do two more. Last one. Lovely. Let's bring in a little movement. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed if you'd like. Readjusting your seat if you need or want. Take an inhale, think nice and tall, lots of space in the spine. And as you exhale, tipping your ear towards the shoulder. Inhale, come back through center. Exhaling, coming off to the other side. It's funny to see myself on video. I notice how like I just wiggle this whole class when I tell you in the beginning that you don't have to be still when you're allowed to wiggle during meditation. I really take my own advice there, I think. Good. Let's get back to the first side. We'll stay and hold. And some options here. I'm being attacked by fruit flies. That is the downside of having so many jungle plants in here. So let's play with this shape. Maybe do you want to take your chin a little more down? Maybe do you want to take it a little more up? Maybe do you want to rotate back and forth between those places? Maybe opposite fingers come towards the floor. Now, when I say opposite fingers, what I mean really is drop your opposite shoulder. It's helpful to just have like the direction of the fingers for that. Final option, this one I'm always a little hesitant to offer. Simply resting your hand on your head, not tugging, not pulling, letting gravity do the work. And I find even fully relaxing my arm is too much weight on my neck. So I keep a little engagement there. And by keep a little engagement, I mean literally never take that option. Come through center. Let's go off to the other side. Same thing. Maybe chin down, maybe chin up. Maybe fingers to the floor, maybe hand to the head. Maybe your neck is just not, it's just no, today, every day, some days, it's just a no thank you. And so maybe you're just sitting and visualizing while you sit in neutral what this may look like or feel like in your body. Coming back to center. Let's take the fingertips to the shoulders. I'm going to come off my little blanket here. As you inhale, open up the elbows, poof the chest, maybe tip the head back. As you exhale, doing the opposite. So sitting backwards, curving the spine, dropping the chin, bringing the elbows towards each other. Inhale, poof. Exhale, sit in. And adjusting this shape to fit your body. Depending on all parts of you, maybe you're much wider with your stance here. Your fingers don't have to technically be anywhere near your shoulders, just so long as you're sort of opening the chest and sort of closing the chest. And just a little movement in the spine, or I don't know, maybe you're feeling great and you have a, I'm trying so hard not to curse. Maybe you feel really wonderful and you have very large movements here. There we go. Good, release that. Inhale, take your arms up overhead. Exhale, let's lean off to the side. We'll keep moving here. Inhaling, coming back to center. Switching sides. We'll go at the pace of your own breath. It is quite a shadow I have created. I studied musical theater and film in college for many years, and all of my training is screaming, what is this video? And I know, probably, literally none of you care, but I do. Let's turn this into a twist. Inhale, reset, sit nice and tall, nice and long. Exhale, twisting with the upper half. Lower the hands. In this one, we're going to stay. So, like we did when we got settled into our first meditation posture, do that same sort of checklist here. So, quickly noticing where's my sensation and is any of it really strong? Is any of it calling to my attention like with an exclamation point? And if the answer is yes, is it simply a stretch, or is it like a maybe you should fix that? If it's unless it's absolutely a stretch that you're feeling, make some adjustments. So as I'm sitting here, I'm feeling something in the opposite side of my lower back that it's pretty small, but I don't really like it. I don't think that I want it to stay there. So I'm going to re-shift my hips, sort of readjust the fat that I'm sitting on even. And I think that takes it out. Flexing my core, sort of adjusting the spine here. And as you're going through your body, if you're feeling something in the neck, look a little more forward. If you feel too much in your spine, open up your twist a little more towards the front. If you feel anything in your elbows, probably you're hyperextended. So can you soften your elbows? When you're ready, we'll inhale, come back to center, and then off to the other side. Same thing, twisting as far as the torso goes by itself, then relaxing the hands. Maybe a nice, so I don't like turning this way because I see this one plant that is, you can't see it, but it is not doing good. And it's one of my favorites, and I'm panicked. I don't know how to save it. The ADHD is strong today. I am so sorry. As you're sitting here, checking through your posture, is there sensation with an exclamation point? Does it need your attention? Does it need an adjustment? Inhale, come back to center, arms up one last time. Let's palms together, interlock your fingers, release your pointer finger. Inhaling, sitting tall. If this arm position is not accessible to you, take it to wherever it is, and you do not have to clasp your hands. You can be down here, you can be way down here. You can be seated like this, imagining this in your head. If you're following me, or following me with your adjustments, inhale here. Nice strong core. As you exhale, lean off to the side, not nearly as far as we did before. Inhaling back to center. Exhale off to the other side. We'll do just a few of these. And as you're going back and forth, being mindful of sensation with an exclamation point, which is quite possibly my most favorite phrase. Most favorite new phrase. Keeping your core engaged because gravity's it's doing some work here, right? When you come over. So you have to keep your torso, right? Let's do one more to each side. Not letting the ears sort of like overtake the neck and the head, excuse me, the shoulders. So keeping some space there. Lovely. Come back up, release your arms. Sometimes poses like that where you have your arms up overhead, my arms get really tired by the end. Gentle clasp, but we are working. Take the soles of the feet together, butterfly the knees. If you'd like some props underneath your knees, you're welcome to do so. Depending on your flexibility, as always, leaning back, sitting upright, or starting to come forward if you'd like. So if you want, I'm not going to cue it today. If you want, you can do a couple breathing and moving before you come into stillness. It's an option for you. And otherwise, or when you finish that and you're ready to settle for a moment, or this is another one. How are you finding your edge? The way that you do that is the way that we've done these last several poses. You get to, I don't know, just a place, a shape, a vague shape in this pose. And then you do a body check, a body scan for sensation. So I'll talk you through what I'm experiencing. I'm noticing a lot in this hip, like way more than I usually do, and virtually no stretch in my inner thighs. So for my body, that's not, it's just, I don't want it to be like that. There doesn't have to be a reason. Simply, I don't like it. It's reason enough. So I'm going to add a little support just for this side. That seems to help a little bit. With a straightish spine, I'm going to start to hinge forward. I'm still really feeling something kind of funky in this hip. I don't really love that. Now, normally I would take some props here, build myself a little prop tower and sort of like rest in it. But this hip is so bothersome to me that I'm going to do the thing that I always cue and never show you. I'm going to sit out of this pose. So I'm keeping an eye on the time. You've got about a minute left. Wherever you're at, constantly, I don't know, regularly checking for sensation. If it's really strong sensation, you don't have to check, probably, it's going to tell you. And listening to your body. I will tell you, this is the first time teaching a class that I've ever sat out of a pose. That's very uncommon for me. But I want to honor myself, I want to honor sensation, and I want to honor the things that I'm attempting to teach you. I'm still kind of feeling my hip. It feels a little bit weird. It's very unusual for my body. The sensation is relatively small, but I don't want to aggravate it. I don't really know what's going on. So that pose does not work in my body today for mystery reason. So I'm going to skip it. Wherever you are, when you're ready, start to work yourself out of that pose. You can clear your props. You can take your hands on your knees to bring them together, like. Let's come into a straddle. This one, as is true for every pose, make it fit for your body. This one visually can be really different based on how wide your legs are. So I just sort of stick them out. Then I check in with the sensation for me in my inner thighs. I don't really feel much there. So I'm going to go a little bit wider. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I wiggle around a little bit to change the sensation a bit. And I feel like already I'm a little stiff today. I'm sort of close to my edge. So I'm going to put my hands behind me and sort of pick my chest up to give myself a nice long spine. I'll stay here and breathe for a few breaths and then decide if I want to come in a little farther. Depending on what your body is doing today, how you're feeling today, if you're feeling good, you can keep your breath and movement for a few rounds of breath. You can build yourself a little prop tower to lean forward on to rest your forehead if you'd like. You can lean forward with no props. You can just use your hands out in front of you. You won't have a whole lot of time to get into it, but if you're feeling crazy and you want to do this, you can put your legs, so lay down, put your legs up the wall, and you can do this on the wall. And finding whatever level of sensation feels appropriate to you, not based on what you think it should feel like, but really having sort of an honest conversation with yourself or being very straightforward with it doesn't matter what it feels like in your body to me. I'm literally never going to know. There isn't a particular thing that you're working towards in terms of sensation for yoga. There's no shape, there's no size, there's no nothing. These practices are for you. They don't have to look a particular way. The thing that is important is what's happening in your body. Some days, so like today, clearly, like I don't really want to feel sensation. It just feels like I don't want to. So I'm pulling way back today. And this is my yoga for the day. It doesn't make it any less than if I did like a crazy, like super deep stretch or like a hatha class, something wild. And, when you see like wild Instagram yoga people, it doesn't have to be that. That is yoga for some people and it's not yoga for all people. Your yoga is honoring where you are right now. Which is, well, let me validate you a little bit, which is sometimes really hard. Sometimes it's really hard. Other days it's really easy. But if you have a string of super hard days or like weeks or months, you're doing yoga still. Bend one leg, the other leg comes straight out off in front of you. You can put a prop underneath this leg if you'd like. Turning your shoulders, excuse me, a little more towards the straight leg. Same idea as before. Breathing and moving a few times if you'd like. Settling in. Maybe the sensation is really strong, so you're leaning back. Option to grab a strap, wrap it around the foot and hold on there. You can make this more active also. You can hold either onto the strap, onto your leg, onto your pants, if you've got like your mat or whatever. And you can mindfully, particularly mindful of the sensation, you can put a little energy behind it to pull yourself into this stretch a little more. I don't usually. I like to keep it much, much, much more passive, but it is an option for you. Something to be mindful of here is your knee of your straight leg. You just want to check that it's not hyperextended. If you're hypermobile, please, please, please be careful. Sometimes it's as simple as you take a little towel or a blanket, you stick it under the knee. If my legs are extra, like joints are doing what I really don't want them to do, I will sometimes just take a fist, just literally right underneath my knee. I can even take this, you can kind of see it, my foot right there, just stick it under the back of my knee, and it just stops the leg from being able to hyperextend. Come on up from there. I'm gonna do the same thing. Excuse me. Goodness, what a day. What a day it is for me already. 8:22 in the morning. Turn your shoulders a little more towards this leg, and then finding where you'd like to go. How much sensation do you want? Is there too much sensation? If the answer is yes, come back. Pull out of it a little bit. Is there not enough sensation? Can you lean forward more? Still not enough? Maybe you add a little energy to pull yourself in. Still nothing? It's possible that this is just not a pose that will light up any sensation in your body. That's another thing. It's bodies are so unique. The way that our muscles are structured, the flexibility of them because of a million factors is so different. So very likely that there are a handful of poses where no matter what, you're just not going to feel a stretch. You're not going to feel engagement. You're not going to feel sensation. You're not doing anything wrong. It's totally normal. And the poses they're just different for different bodies. So again, not letting expectation of what you think you should feel decide what you're doing. Lovely. Come up out of that. We're going to come onto our backs. You may want to take a strap with you. We'll be here very briefly before we end with our final meditation. So as you get on your back here, if laying down on your back is an absolute no, you can do this seated as well. Feet flat on the floor, knees sort of windshield wiper left to right, as big or as small as feels good. And we're going to finish with a little hip stretch. So I'll give you a couple options here. Leave your, this is the same seated, by the way. Left foot flat on the floor. Take your right shin up and over your left thigh. And then right hand opens up that right knee. Now, if you feel a stretch in your hip, you can stay here. If you need more, we're going to pick up our legs. If you're seated, you're just going to scoot your legs much, much closer to you, sort of like accordion yourself. And if you're lying down with me, let your lower half come towards you. And then take your hands. You're going to grab either your left thigh, your left shin, or you're going to take a strap through this little hole you've created around the thigh or shin, and you can hold it to create a little more space for yourself. As we're settled here, checking for where the sensation is. What is the sensation telling you? Is it safe? Is it okay? Is there anything that needs to be adjusted? Is there anything holding tension that you can release? Nice and easy. When you're ready, we'll untwist ourselves from that. You can give the legs a little wiggle if you'd like. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So right foot flat on the floor, left shin up and over, left hand opens up the left knee. If you feel good there, you can stay there. Otherwise, let everything in the lower half come towards you, grabbing that right thigh, right shin, or a strap. When you sort of kind of settle into this shape, checking in with sensation, making necessary adjustments, coming out of the pose entirely if you just can't make it work in your body. That's some days there's just no reason for why it doesn't work. It just doesn't. And that is totally and completely acceptable. Nice and easy. Release the legs. Give them a little wiggle if you'd like. Wherever you are, seated, lying down, whatever option to take a super duper giant, massive full body stretch here. Addressing anything calling to you. Any last little stretches you want to take. And we're going to come into our final meditation. It will be about 2 minutes. So you can be lying down, you can be seated, you can have no props, you can have a million props. And take a moment to let yourself get settled. Softening the gaze, picking one point to look at, or closing the eyes. Letting your mind explore sensation now, maybe comparing it to what it felt like previously. Maybe making micro adjustments as you notice sensation. So if you find, for example, tension in the jaw, trying to release that. For the most part, almost entirely, if you can, allowing yourself to simply be. Whatever you are right now is correct. Now you're welcome to stay here, excuse me, for as long as you'd like. The video will stop itself, I assume. If you'd like to come out with me, I'll cue you now. Or from wherever you are, allow your breath to expand. Allow it to take up more space in the body. And starting to add some small movements, maybe wiggling the fingers, toes, You can sway the body side to side. Just want to gradually wake yourself up physically before you come up to seated if you're lying down. Option to roll off onto one side before you come up. But meeting me here and seated whenever you're ready. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Thank you for coming on the wild ride of my attention span being 3.5 seconds today. I hope you are feeling a little more embodied than when you began practice. I hope you have a wonderful, lovely, amazing day, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.